I know sports. He's a clown. It's Thursday. We're back for another episode. I am Matt, joined as always by my faithful companion, Gav. Gav, how was your week in sport?
Um, it was good. Uh, well, I picked the Boston Bruins, right? And within 5 games of these pricks, having me as their main man for supporting them, I've just realised it's going to be a fucking, life of just torture. Um, the home games, they're getting absolutely slapped around the place. But they're still in with a chance. They're 3-2 down, going into game 6, which is at home, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
They're still in with a chance, so they've been keeping an eye on them. I also found out that guys can run marathons really fast, but there's been a ban on certain types of shoes they can run in, which is bananas.
Go on. I've not heard this.
Yeah, apparently, there was it was Adidas or one of these brands that made some sort of carbon bouncy shoe, and the athletics lads were like, "No, can't have that." And we're like, "Wow, we have stuff on shoes now." Now that could be just one of the lads in the WhatsApp group saying it to me, and I believed it, but I'm going with it. Okay, the snooker has progressed. I think John Higgins is still in. He's about 60, and he's still there. Watched a little bit of the Champions League. Two very drastic differences in games, to say the least.
We're gonna talk about those. Don't
Yeah.
you worry.
Ismaili Sarr turned into Maradona again tonight for Crystal Palace in a 3-1 win away at Shakhtar Donetsk. I think that was who they were playing. I love saying it's not Shakhtar Donetsk, it's Shakhtar Donetsk. I love saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Braga, I think, beat Freiburg 2-1 in the other game, and Forest beat Villa. So there's a bit of football in there. Golf, Live are no more. They will be gone at the end of the season, and I cannot wait to see how they get all these lads back on the PGA Tour. I really can't, and it comes back to my friend Wesley Bryan, because he's sitting there and he went, "Lads, I played an exhibition. What's going on? Like, these lads fucked off, and you're going to bring them all back." So that's going to be an absolute can of piss, to put it lightly. And I'm not too sure if I missed anything. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. If
That's
I
pretty
have,
good. That's a pretty well-rounded week in sport for you. I do have to say, you're getting better. I'm gonna take some credit for that.
Yeah.
I'm really gonna take some credit for that. Let's get in and talk about the Champions League specifically. I didn't really get to watch any of the Thursday games, the Europa League and the Conference League. I was kind of keeping an eye on Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest, Notts Forest today, and it was not a great spectacle of football. But let's take them in reverse order, Gav. Yesterday saw Arsenal and Atletico Madrid play out to a 1-1 draw. Penalties, just the only thing happening in the game from what I could see.
Yeah. Look, people say we're spoiled the night before, and we'll get to that in a minute. But this was always going to be the way, and it's weird watching these two teams, because I think both of them, it's an obvious thing to say that they'd like a lead. I think Atletico would have taken a 1-0 win at home to go to the Emirates, and I think Arsenal would have taken a 1-0 away win. Any sort of win they'd have both taken. Whereas in other times you think, well, they need 2 or 3 before they go away here, or the sort of way, or if they can, they can keep it down to 2-0, these have a great chance when they get to the reverse fixture. But for me, when I look at these two teams, Atletico Madrid are never going to blow you away. But if you put them in a scenario where they have to hold on to something, I think they're fucking brilliant at it. And I think Arsenal would have loved to get out of there with a 1-goal lead, because then the impetus is not on them. It's going to be on Arsenal to go and win this game next week, and I think that's where Atletico Madrid might be more comfortable going into this game, even though it's an away game. Asking Arsenal to go and win it, and saying to them, "Look, we'll stay here all day and we'll fucking defend like dogs." But it was an okay game. Big controversy over the possible penalty with Eze, but I thought it was a penalty, and then I seen an angle and I went, "No, it's not. It's just not a penalty." And I've seen I've seen Arsenal fans going like, when is this going to stop? Like, this is just cheating. What's happening to us? And I'm like, lads, what are you talking about? And then my favourite thing was the Arsenal staff turning up and going, is there any chance UEFA can start measuring this grass before we proceed? And you're like, what the fuck is going on here? But it turns out it was 26 mils long. So once it's anywhere between 20, I think it's 21 and 30 mils or something like that, you're okay. They had it at 26, which was absolutely fine. But it was always going to be like that. I think Arsenal have struggled this season when you ask them to be the aggressor in games. And Atletico Madrid, I just don't think they're as good as people think they are. To be fair, I think they've patches in games, but overall, I think that you can get at them, especially if the game is kind of open. I think if they'd have went to London next week with a 1-0 win, under in the back pocket, I think Arsenal would have had a really, really tough time. But I don't expect Atletico Madrid to come flying out of the traps at the Emirates next week. I expect them to come out and go, we'll hang on to whatever we have for as long as we possibly can here, to the point where you just break down and cry, and then Alvarez scores a goal or something like that. But it was one of those games that you always kind of get this. In one semi-final is a bit meh, and the other one's a bit fucking hell. That's absolute crackers. But and that's what we got.
It certainly is. I mean, last thought, like, who do you think's the happier with that result, with the 1-1? You think Atleti or Arsenal is more pleased with that?
I would possibly say Atletico. I just think Atletico are built to be in these really tight. Atletico can go there and go, we don't have to go out and win this. We're not 2-1 down. We don't have to show our cards early. Arsenal in previous European games, I think against Sporting Lisbon, had one shot on target in the whole game. But that was a game where they didn't have to win. Arsenal will feel they have to go and hurt Atletico and hurt them early. It's going to go one of two ways. Arsenal are going to get 2 or 3 goals and put them away, or it's going to be Atletico just absolutely squeaking out last 10 minutes. That's the way I feel it's going to go.
Extra time and penalties. I mean, in the league phase of this year's Champions League, these two teams did play at the Emirates, and Arsenal trounced them 4-0. So I would imagine that Arsenal, in my opinion, would be the happier of the two, not having a deficit to overcome. I just don't see them as the type of team that will go, we're at home, we need to come out and try to get that goal so that they can't be that shithouse type of football. I think the atmosphere inside the Emirates, if Arsenal doesn't get a goal the first 20 minutes, I think that's going to get real tetchy real fast. I'm going to come back to the Arsenal fans because, Gav, the game on Tuesday in Paris, defending champions Paris Saint-Germain against, and eventual French league winners again, against perennial German champions Bayern Munich, put on. It has to be one of the most exciting and entertaining games of football you will ever see. Finishes 5-4. The attacking quality in this game, Gav, is outrageous. Absolutely outrageous.
Yeah. Look, it finishes 5-4. There was lads on WhatsApp groups everywhere going, oh, this is a different sport to what others are playing and stuff like that. And it was in an attacking sense. My only thing on it is that I thought defensively both teams were appalling. Genuinely, I thought they were appalling. And don't get me wrong, I'm not taking anything away from Kvaratskhelia or Dembele or Doué or Kane, Luis Diaz, Michael Olise. I'm not taking that away from them. I thought Bayern were really clever. They weren't interested in playing through midfield and getting involved with Vitinha, etc. They went and they looked for Olise and they looked for Luis Diaz early. They looked for Kane, who was dropping in, and they were looking to play, basically bypass midfield, but not in a way where they were just kicking the ball long. They were clever in what they were doing. They were getting their centre-backs on it and trying to get them to progress, and then pull a PSG midfielder out of position slightly and find the gap then into their front men. But having said that, Kvaratskhelia gets an unbelievable goal, where he goes by a few. And the attacking play was excellent. But I just couldn't get over how neither of these teams could adjust to defend throughout the game. And look, I think whoever goes through in this tie will be probably heavy favourites to win the final. I think when you look, but having said that, the other two teams on the other side of it will be going, But you know what? If you can keep it tight, and it's not easy to do against these teams, they do give up chances. They give up chances and they give up goals. And it was a brilliant spectacle to watch as a neutral, because you're sitting there just going, as many goals as you just want, lads. That's what we're in it for. And that's what you are roughly in it for. Excitement, great attack and play, good finish, great goals. You're in it sometimes for controversial decisions and stupid defending, or someone has a mad rick in them. But it was brilliant to watch. But both managers will be going, Bayern will be walking away from that going, we got 4 away in Paris. What can we do at home? And, PSG are going, we won the game and we got 5 against that Bayern team, who are usually quite scroungy when it comes to goals. But I don't think either of them will be happy with the defensive display, because there is going to come a crunch time in this tie, which is probably going to be between 75 and 95 in the second leg, when somebody's going to have to go, right, we're 1 up, we have to sort this out. We have to get through the next 20 minutes and see this tie out. And I don't think either defence will be confident of doing it. But then again, hold your hands up. You have to say, you can be as good defensively as you want when teams are just playing with that much aggression going forward and that much variety, pace, intricate play. Good. The passing was so good in forward areas that you just have to hold your hands up and go, they were fucking brilliant on what defence can stop it. But someone's going to have to knuckle down here for 20 minutes in a game next week, and whoever does will win it.
Yeah, I think PSG really, I don't know if it was just the players were incapable of executing it, or Luis Enrique did not want to switch his game plan, but they had a 5-2 lead in the second half, and they did not change the way they were playing at all. It was the only thing I've seen from a football manager that's crazier than that was Spurs going down to 9 men and still playing a high line at the halfway line against Chelsea a couple of years ago. But Ange Postecoglou is not fit to tie the laces of Luis Enrique. I've heard a fair few people make the same comments you made about this game of it's amazing attacking talent, but the defense was quite suspect. And I wonder how much the suspect nature of the defense was down to the quality of the opposition attack, because those are the 2 best attacking threesomes in the entire world right now. And I mean, it's somewhat bittersweet looking, especially as Liverpool fans, Luis Diaz having left Liverpool in the summer and now looking like an absolute world-class dynamo. But I mean, Bayern's entire attack are former Premier League players, with Harry Kane and Michael Olise there, looking unstoppable. And then the worst attacker on the pitch is Ousmane Dembele, who last year did he win the Ballon d'Or last year?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So he's the defending Ballon d'Or winner, and he's the worst out of the 6 attackers on the pitch. It's the talent of Kvaratskhelia is it's absolutely outstanding. The pass from Harry Kane, though, for Luis Diaz for that 4th goal, they're doing that offside check, and it was you know what? For the love of all that we enjoy in sport, let this goal stand. Please let him be onside, because it was outrageous. And as much as I never really cared for Harry Kane when he was at Tottenham Hotspur, and now I don't see as much of him because I don't watch a lot of Bundesliga, an incredible striker. But to bring the 2 together, when I was watching that game on the Tuesday, I couldn't help but just dip in and see what the Arsenal fans thought of what they were witnessing. I was expecting them to be like, we're in some fucking trouble here. And the amount of confidence from the Arsenal fans of being like, we'll keep these, it'll be 1-0 to the Arsenal. It doesn't matter which of these 2 teams we play in the final. It's going to be 1-0 to the Arsenal. It's just you think your attack can score against these defenses? Because that's not the same thing. Gabriel Martinelli, Victor Gyökeres, and who else was out there? Trossard. Saka will probably be trotted out for any sort of final. It's a massive difference. And it was so funny because in the same forum, I saw somebody post a question, an Arsenal fan, of would you rather have our attacking 3 of, I think it was Martinelli, Gyökeres, and Nani Madueke, or would you rather have Palace's front 3 of Yeremy Pino, Jean-Philippe Mateta, and Ismail Assar? And pretty much to a man, everybody was like, I'd rather have Palace's attack. And it was like, you'd rather have Crystal Palace's attack and you think you're going to score goals against these teams? I don't know.
I think that the proof is in the pudding there. Arsenal fans going, while watching this and going, oh, it'll be 1-0 to the Arsenal. That's hope more than belief. Let's be fair. You know, if I'm a Liverpool fan, if I'm a Liverpool fan and Liverpool are in Arsenal's position and we're going into that game, I'm going, they're scoring 2. So we need to probably score 3 in Budapest, isn't it? In the final. Is it Budapest or Bucharest? One of them lads.
No, Budapest, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, I've had a sneaky feeling over Arsenal for this Champions League for a while, and I have had a feeling that they'll get to a final and they'll make it as drab affair as possible and do something on the break or from a set piece. But when you look at the power of these teams and the way they play, it's frightening, and it's not something we haven't seen before. You know, Ashley's in the chat there and she's talking about Mane, Firmino and Salah at Liverpool. Everyone kind of spoken the same or as them, or about them. And just on the Liverpool point, this is what aggressive football with intent gets you. You know, Michael Elise isn't the fastest player in the world, right? Not the fastest player in the world, but he's so aggressive in what he does. So aggressive. Yeah. He gets the ball, and what he does is he just decides, you in front of me is going to be committed to doing some sort of defending here in a second. Actual one-on-one contact defending. Not shadowing me out here or shadowing me in there. I'm going to go straight at you. Diaz is the same. He wants to get straight at you. Kvaratskhelia wants to get at you. You know what I mean? Doué wants to get at you. Dembele and Kane are slightly different. I just think they're brilliant at finding space, and then they impact games. Kane has come on so much over the last. We mentioned on this show, I think, about what Jose Mourinho done for Harry Kane when he just decided you don't need to be up front all the time. Drop in, and when you drop in and link, you'll get as many chances, if not better quality ones, because you're not just standing in the box being marked, you're moving. And he's so intelligent what he does, Kane. And the same with Dembele. I'm always amazed at the space Dembele finds in areas where you're going, how is he finding that space? Like, he's literally within the width of the 18-yard box, 25 yards from your goal, and he's nobody near him. And you're like, how has he done this? And it's all clever movement. It's all clever movement from wide men. It's clever movement from fullbacks. It's clever movement from his midfield players. It was astonishing to watch. And it made me hark back to the 3 that Ashley's mentioned there. But that's what you need in today's game. That's what you need. Forget all your set piece stuff and all that all come and go. But at the end of the day, one constant in football is if you're aggressive and direct in how you're going to get at teams and do it with real intent, not many teams can live with you. Not many teams can live with you.
Especially when you are incredibly talented as well. Like, it's one thing if I tried to just run directly at somebody and just kick the ball right out to touch for a goal kick every single time. But like the players that you're talking about they're just supremely talented and they're so enjoyable to watch. And it's, having watched all of Liverpool's games this year and being like, listen, if we're going to fucking lose, at least be exciting. Like, at least give me that, because I had that PSG Bayern game on out in the shop at the farm, working away, and I was around the corner, and every 2 minutes the announcer's voice was like, ah, and I was like, what the fuck happened now? And I have to run around the corner and just check and look, and eventually got to the point where it's like, I'm just gonna sit down watching out of this game. Like, it was such a wonderful spectacle. Another massive spectacle coming up, because being a broad-ranging sports show, we got to cover the waterfront. This weekend is the Kentucky Derby, the crown jewel of the American horse racing calendar. Gav, I'm going to run through the favorites for you. Renegade is at 4-1, Commandment 6-1, Further Ado 6-1, Chief Wallaby 8-1, The Puma 8-1, So Happy 15-1. Are there any names in there that you like? I will give you a quick little caveat, though, is that Renegade, the favorite at 4-1, has drawn the rail position, and there has not been a Derby winner off of the rail position since 1986.
So he's in trap 1, is he?
Yep.
Okay. And can you give me the traps for the other lads?
No.
Oh, okay.
I didn't Google that for him.
Okay, so Renegade is at 4-1.
Yep.
Who?
Commandment and Further Ado 6-1, Chief Wallaby and the Puma 8-1, and So Happy at 15-1.
And there's plenty more horses in there. It's just you've
I think so.
You put 15-1 bar on it, basically.
Yeah.
I will have. Sorry, read the top three out again. The 2 6-1 lads.
Commandment and
Yeah.
Further Ado. Commandment won the Florida Derby. He's got a 4-race winning streak going. And Further Ado won the Bluegrass Stakes by 11 lengths.
Okay. I'll have Further Ado, please.
Okay, I'm going to write that down. Gav has chosen Further Ado.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm going to go with Chief Wallaby because that is a great name.
Okay. No problem.
Okay.
Check out next week when we tell you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you are the pick master here, so I'm completely expecting Further Ado to just.
I'd have to look up the form, but yeah, I'll go with that.
No. There's no need to look up forms. We're doing just like you did with basketball and hockey. You're going just off of nothing but names and vibes, and if you've been to that city before.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All I can think of is without further ado, and then that usually means we've done with all the bullshit now. Let's have a nice time. So that's why I'm going with further ado.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you, like at an Irish funeral, you know.
Yeah.
All right, we've gotten all the formalities
yeah.
out of the
They're dead. Right, come on.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of dead, there are a couple of teams in the hockey and basketball playoffs that are now classified as dead. Gav, you've nailed one of your picks. You picked the Thunder to win. They swept aside. I don't even remember who they were playing. It was a fucking absolute bloodbath.
Probably someone from Florida.
Possibly.
I was massively anti-Florida at me picks.
That's completely okay because when we get into talking about hockey, I'm gonna rail against Florida because fuck them. Who did they beat? Oh, they beat the Phoenix Suns. So not much to say there. Your pick of the Lakers. They had a 3-0 lead. They've lost the last 2 games.
It's okay.
It's not looking good. The Houston Rockets have won 2. It's now 3-2. It's going back to Game 6 in Houston. But nobody comes back from 3-0 in basketball. It just does not happen. It does not happen. So that one, you're looking good. You pick the Denver Nuggets. They play tonight. They're down 2-3 against Minnesota. But Minnesota has suffered some absolutely devastating injuries to their best players. So the Nuggets should do okay with that one.
I feel like
you're a smart man.
I feel like you're about to say, and like devastating injuries, like 3 of them were taken out by a sniper in the 4th quarter. So they won't be playing in the next game. And that's all the better for the lads that are playing.
Dante DiVincenzo did his Achilles, and he may as well have been taken out by a sniper because it was that Achilles thing that you see, like you saw with Hugo Ekitike, where it just ping, it goes, and down they are. Anthony Edwards, their best player, I think is questionable to return these playoffs with look like a fairly serious knee injury. The San Antonio Spurs, powered by the fucking man, Victor Wembanyama. The guy is ridiculous. He had 13 blocks in the last 2 games. The Spurs saw off the Portland Trail Blazers 4-1. The only game that San Antonio failed to win was when Wemby had to exit due to a concussion. So that's not good. You pick the Detroit Pistons. They are currently down 3-2 to the Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic, a number 8 seed.
The pricks.
I know it's somewhat of a fairy tale story because Orlando's team is garbage, so that's huge for them. You refused to go with the Canadians. You chose the Cleveland Cavaliers to beat the Toronto Raptors. They're up 3-2 after Cleveland won last night. Some of the worst fucking shooting I've ever seen in a basketball game. Toronto just they could barely throw the ball out of bounds. It was so bad. You took the New York Knicks to defeat the Atlanta Hawks. They're currently up 3-2. And you took the Celtics to beat the 76ers. They're also up 3-2. So as it stands, if the favorites go through, Gab, you would end up getting 6 out of 8.
Yeah. Nice.
That's pretty damn good.
Come back here next week, kids. For your, if you're hooked on betting, come back here next week and I'll give you the latest tips.
Unfortunately, we have to talk about your hockey picks because not quite as good.
Let's be fair. The hockey picks, I literally went on the names alone. I didn't.
What did you do on your basketball picks? It's not like you were looking at the stat book.
Yeah, but you gave me the seedy bits as well, and I was like,
I gave you the seeds for hockey.
I wasn't paying attention. I picked Edmonton because I liked their name. Oilers or something, I think is their name.
Yes.
And I was like, the Oilers, yeah, I remember that. And it was basically the ones I fondly remember from NHL 94. That was the whole premise of it. So,
and again, a
But I'll
totally
tell you what I will do.
legitimate.
I'll promise you this. When we get through this round of playoffs and the
Yeah.
teams go into the next round, right? Although there's probably a backdoor system where half the fuckers that got knocked out get back in or something. But what I'll do is I'll sit down and I will go through the form of all these teams and give you genuine picks for the final 8. Would it be? Would it be the last 8?
Yeah. The
that's what I'll
final.
do.
Well, 8 need. Yeah. The final 8.
Quarterfinals.
Yes. Well, your hockey picks, Gav. You completely ignored the seeding. The number 1 team in hockey, Colorado Avalanche, quite easily dealt with the number 8 seeded Los Angeles Kings, even though you thought LA would win that one. So not a great start. You picked Minnesota to beat Dallas in what has been one of the 2 series of the playoffs so far. Minnesota's up 3-2, so you're looking good in that one.
Thanks, bud.
You picked Las Vegas. You picked the Sinners to defeat the Mormons. 3-2 Las Vegas. You're looking good in that one.
Thanks, bud.
You picked Edmonton to beat the not-so-mighty Ducks. They are down 3-2, though.
Okay, that'll be
Anaheim.
all right. Yeah, but game 6 is in Anaheim, is it?
Game 6 is
absolutely
in Anaheim.
set up for the upset. I'm liking it. Yeah.
All right.
Pressure off. No home crowd in your ear. They'll be all right.
Okay. We went through by this time last week. I believe the Carolina Hurricanes had already swept. Oh no, they hadn't. It was 2-0 last week, but Carolina swept aside the Ottawa Senators. They should not have been in the playoffs. They were terrible. You nailed that.
I went Carolina there, didn't I?
You did. You nailed it.
Yeah, because Senators is stupid now.
Yep. You picked the Pittsburgh Penguins to defeat the Philadelphia Flyers. It was 3-0 in the series for Philadelphia. Pittsburgh won 2 games. They were playing last night, Game 6. It went to overtime, sudden death overtime in the playoffs. Philadelphia scores. Pittsburgh's season is over. There's a scramble in front of the Pittsburgh net. Pittsburgh's goalie makes the most ridiculous save I've ever seen. And I'm getting my phone out to text. I got a buddy that's a big Penguins fan, and I'm getting ready to text him. And as I'm writing the message, Philadelphia scores. And it's like, well, Pittsburgh's done. So Pittsburgh loses that series.
Did I pick Philadelphia there?
No, you picked Pittsburgh there.
And they're gone.
They're gone. So
R.I.P. the Pittsburgh lads. Okay.
Yeah, and you've already covered the Boston-Buffalo series. Boston needs to win at home in Game 6 to force a Game 7 in Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
Another really good physical series. 2 well-matched teams in that one. And then last night, the glorious Montreal Canadiens went to Tampa Bay in Game 5 with the series knotted up at 2 games apiece and fucking beat the Tampa Bay Lightning. Fuck the Tampa Bay Lightning. And yes, Ashley mentioned in there, I'm just angry because Mighty Red, the Liverpool mascot, was at a Tampa Bay Lightning game. And I would like to know, Mighty Red, what the fuck are you doing cheering for the Tampa Bay Lightning? The Tampa Bay Lightning.
I'll tell you what's happened there. The guy inside the suit, right, has gone down to his local travel agent and he's gone, listen, the missus and the kids would love a fucking holiday in Tampa, Florida. And they've totted it all up, and they went. Do you want to go to Disney? Yeah. And do you want to go to the 3 parks? Is there 3 parks? You want to go to the 3 parks? And they're like, 100%. Can we get the queue skipping fucking tags as well? So we just say they're all on the spectrum or something. And yeah. You can go, right? I'm willing to bring a wheelchair with me. All that sort of stuff. So they get to go and they tore it all up and they go, listen, it's going to cost you 14 grand, right? And he's gone, 14 grand? Yeah. And he goes, look, and then he goes into barter mode and he goes, look, have you ever heard of Mighty Red? And they went, yeah. And he goes, well, I am Mighty Red. So what price can you get me if I'm willing to bring the gear with me and go to a sporting event there, give it the big one for an hour or so? And they went, we'll sponsor you to go. And that's why he's ended up at the game. And his family have got a lovely holiday over. So I don't blame him. He's used his initiative. He's bartered. There you go. Dylan says a friend of his tried to get the disability passes because he has asthma. Fucking amazing.
Hey, you get medicine for it. It sounds like a disability to me.
Yeah, but I know. I genuinely do. And people could probably go, you can't say that about the spectrum. You can say that about the spectrum because I know somebody that went to Orlando, Florida and filled in some sort of form, and their 2 kids, one of them is on the spectrum, has it might be ADHD. It's something along them lines. And they went, yeah, no problem, absolutely fine, bang. And they were in on the queue. What's it called? Fast track, fast pass. One of those. Yeah, got it because they were on the spectrum. And look,
I'd imagine that's
perfect.
still a fairly long line. I get the strangest feeling that a lot of the adults without children that are going to Disney also qualify for that same fast track.
Yeah.
But it sets it up nicely. Gav, if I can give you some homework for this week, it starts at midnight your time tomorrow. There is no place in the entire world of sports that will hold a candle tomorrow night to what the city of Montreal will be like. I sent you the video of the Game 3, the first game in Montreal, the opening ceremonies, and the fervor that city goes into. Nobody does ceremony like the Montreal
Canadiens. So you're 3-2 up, are you?
We are 3-2 up. We have a chance to close it out at home. The city will go wild.
Now, if it goes to Game 7, you're back to Tampa. Big Red and the lads. Yeah, Mighty Red and the lads. Okay.
Mighty Red, the absolute traitor, and Bolty, the lightning bolt, or whatever it is. But either which way, if I know anything about my team's fans in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, whether we win the Stanley Cup or whether we lose in 7 games in the first round at Tampa Bay, 2 things are guaranteed to happen. Cop cars are getting flipped over and set on fire, and the Foot Locker that's just outside of the stadium is getting looted. It happens every time they're in the playoffs. The guys that own that Foot Locker, they need to know this by now.
And did he not go, oh, they're in the playoffs, someone ring up fucking, the roller shutter people and ask them have they got the bulletproof stuff? And they go, it'll be grand. Sure, he won't be doing it again.
Not this year. This year.
Why and cop cars, what to do? Just park the cop cars around the place and go, right, lads, go on.
Yeah,
this is the old fleet. Yeah, this is the old fleet. Walk away, lads. They just roll out 1976 Chevrolets with police written on them, and they go.
You updated the insurance policy on those old Crown Victorias, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Park them outside the stadium. Let those fuckers burn.
Or what they should do is just start impounding loads of cars, spraying them black and white, putting police sirens on them, and just parking them around the place. Going, they won't know any different. You know what I mean? Use your initiative here. Do you know what I mean?
They're gonna be drunk. You don't have to worry about it. I want to get into our main story, and this came because of watching the San Antonio Spurs play. I should have gotten you a clip of Victor Wembanyama, but if I can explain this to you, because last week you were saying I wasn't doing a very good job of selling the basketball to you, and I get that because I hadn't seen very many really good games. So I will say this about basketball. When basketball is not good, it's really, really not good. It's really boring. It's got the worst review system in all of sports. They review the most asinine shit, and it takes forever. Every team gets 37 timeouts, and at the end of a game, it's foul, timeout, foul, timeout. I timed a game last night. I was watching, which game was it? I think it was the Raptors-Cleveland game. The final 4 minutes of the game took 11 minutes to play. So 4 minutes takes 11 minutes. But watching Victor Wembanyama, he's 7'4". His arms are, 42 feet long or something like that. The other team is scared to get within 15 feet of this guy because he just fucking blocks everything. And it got me thinking about tall guys. Mm-hmm. Because there are 2 brilliant examples from the sports of baseball and hockey. So can you roll the baseball clip for us, Gav? Let's see if this works.
Oh, God. You put me in
There's a lot of pressure.
Oh,
you knew this was coming, though.
Massive. What am I rolling here?
The baseball one, the first one I sent you.
Oh, the baseball one. Okay. Yeah. Okay, here we go.
That is one of the most legendary clips in all of baseball. This is a spring training game. That's Randy Johnson on the mound.
Bosh.
And that is a bird.
It's a pigeon.
Getting absolutely obliterated by a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. So Randy Johnson was the original tall guy in baseball. He's 6'10".
Okay.
Freakishly tall.
Yeah.
He throws left-handed, which is already a massive advantage in that sport. And having the extra height means that the ball comes from higher up, which allows it to drop more, so the ball moves more. It travels faster because he's got more leverage to it. And this gangly motherfucker first came in playing for the Montreal Expos, and he was terrible. And then he went to Seattle, and after Seattle, he went to Arizona. He became maybe the most dominant pitcher for a decade in baseball. And he's just freakishly tall. Can you roll the hockey clip for me?
Oh God, we'll do this again. Okay.
Yes, you have to do this again.
Sorry, but sorry.
Come on.
I'm trying my best. Size of that fella. Look at him. He's just throwing around like he's a doll.
So the guy in white there is a Czech hockey player by the name of Zdeno Chara. He's 6'9", or was. I mean, he's still 6'9". He's not a hockey player anymore. That's one of the most famous hockey fights of the last 30 years from the NHL because he just absolutely ragdolls the other guy around. But that guy was so tall, he needed to get a special workaround the NHL rules because he needed a stick that was taller than what was legally allowed by the league.
Ah, okay.
He then went on. So in that clip, he's playing for the Ottawa Senators, who I know you hate. But he's playing against the Toronto Maple Leafs and beating the shit out of them. So that's great. And it was a sign of good things to come because after he left Ottawa, Zdeno Chara went to your favorite team, the Boston Bruins, and managed to win a couple of Stanley Cups and continue to beat the shit out of the Toronto Maple Leafs. But he was so big, like he just completely changes the game because if you think about a guy that's 6'9" on skates, so call him 7 feet. He's 7 feet tall.
Well, no,
he's got
he's 6'9". He's 6'9" on. Oh, I know what you mean. 6'9" with the skates. He's 7 foot. Okay, I thought you were just going. Listen, he's 6'9". Let's just call him 7 foot. And I was like, no, we're not doing that.
That's a big roundup.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's such a complete and total game changer in these three sports specifically, in basketball, in baseball, and in hockey. It can be such a game changer, but I can't find any really great examples from any of the other sports. So I know cricket bowlers, being tall as a cricket bowler is the same as a pitcher in baseball. You get the extra leverage, which is more bounce and more pace on the balls. But I was looking up, famous tall soccer players. They're not a lot.
No. Well, Peter Crouch is up there, isn't he? He's 6'7".
But never really a dominant force in the game.
No, we go through a period of probably, of a couple of years where he's shit hot. But, and he scores some outrageous goals. And you look more outrageous because he's 6'7" and he's doing bicycle kicks and stuff. But no, like, when I think of tall players, you always think of people that are just going, like, how do you stop them? You know what I mean? And to be fair, like, they'd be quite useful in the Premier League this season because everyone just loves playing for set pieces. Like, and I looked up a guy, and he plays in the Premier League in around 1993, so we're looking at 30 plus years ago, and his name was Justin Flo. He was a Norwegian guy, and he was 6'4", but he just, like, I was 11 at the time. I was like, that fella is a fucking monster. And whenever you watch Sheffield United play, he played on the right wing. He didn't even play up front. What he done was he stood him on the right wing and he went, every time you get it, kick it in the air towards this fella and he'll win it. And then we just play from there. We just do whatever. And I always remember him there. And then I think, if I remember rightly, he's in the Norwegian squad for the 94 World Cup. Ireland played our final group game in America against Norway. And I think he's in the squad. And I have vague memories of him either starting or coming on in the game. This could be completely wrong, by the way. This is me making this up in my own head. But him coming on, I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, not this fella. Like, we can't win a header against this guy. They're just going to fucking pump it in the box for this guy. And then he done fuck all,
And that's kind of what I mean. So, like, one of the best examples I found from the soccer world, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He's only 6'5", though.
Yeah, Johnny's good. Johnny says Jan Koller and Nikola Zigic were two other tall players. Yeah, Zigic is Zigic the one that ends up at Birmingham for quite a few years. And Johnny thinks he was Tor Andre Flo's older brother. He could be. But in football, you see, the thing about with football is that when you have a big guy up front, you literally let him win it, and you just step off and try and win the second ball. Do you know what I mean? Unless you have a massive guy in the box, and you're peppering the box with balls in there, and he's looking to head it and score. You know, Peter Crouch was 6'7". He wasn't an amazing header of the ball. You know what I mean? You have to be a good header of the football. You can be as tall as you want. You know what I mean? One of the best headers of a football, you would see, like, if you go back into the 70s and stuff, Andy Gray, brilliant header of a football. He's about 5'7", 5'8", not a big guy. Heading isn't about height. Heading's about technique. And you can be as big as you want. And in football, I can't remember, like Niall Quinn played for Ireland, 6'4"-ish. Brilliant in the air. Brilliant header of a football. But they're few and far between for tall fellas in football, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if it's too much gangliness. Like you mentioned, like you talk about the idea of having a big tall guy and putting him in the box, and it just makes me think of this year's Newcastle United. You know, their big money striker acquisition, 6'6" Nick Voltamata.
Yeah.
First 5 games of the year, put him in the box, put the ball in for him. He's scoring goals like crazy. A month later, Eddie Howe, the genius, goes, "We're going to drop you back and play you as a number 10." And it's like, he's 6'6".
And then we just
I wonder if it's just the field is too big for these big guys to get around, because like I watch Victor Wembanyama, or if you go back and you watch like Yao Ming. Yao Ming was, I think he was 7'7" or 7'6", but moved very gracefully. Like Victor Wembanyama just glides across the floor, but a basketball court is so much smaller than a football pitch. Like I wonder if it's just their big gangliness can't really get him around. Like Erling Haaland, 6'5", but he's not. Like, it's not his height isn't really what makes him
it's his power.
Lethal. Yeah, it's his power. Virgil van Dijk is listed on this list as 6'5". I don't think that's correct.
I think he's 6'4".
Yeah, I do as well too. Like, and it's just like, so you don't really see it. You don't really see it in soccer, because even Dan Burn, who's 6'7", plays for Newcastle. I mean, yeah, he scored that one header against Liverpool, but we also put the 5'6" Alexis McAllister to mark him from that corner, which doesn't make any
so
sense
whatsoever.
It
doesn't count really, does it?
No, you may as well have just had like a pylon there to mark them. But also, like, NFL football doesn't really have these super tall guys. Like, you think if you had a receiver that was 6'9", that you could just throw the ball and just let him jump up and grab the thing, and nobody's going to be able to defend it. But
yeah, but he has to move to get there. You know, you have to be. If you're 6'9", you have to be a serious athlete to be, hunkering down like that and then up and gone. You know what I mean? And you're making a run. You're going inside. You're going outside. You're looking, and then but like, again, he's 6'9", but he has to be able to catch a ball. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but imagine how big your hands are when you're 6'9".
Yeah,
your
but
hands
like,
are the size of deck chairs.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can have you can go out and find yourself 3 guys that are 6'8" each and go, right, you're our 3 receivers in this game. And what we're going to do is we're going to give it to the quarterback. We're going to delay as long as we can when he gets it, while you plod up the pitch there, right? And then he's just going to launch Hail Marys in the air towards you. And you're 6'9", mate. You should win them all. And then it turns out he can't catch the fucking ball. Do you know what I mean? Turns out, like, every time he takes the butter out of the fridge, it falls on the ground. You know what I mean? There's all sorts going on there. So there is a technical side to it. And that's why, especially in soccer, football, you can be as big as you want, but if you don't have the technique to win headers, you just not happening for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Owen Burke in the chat there says Peter Crouch never had to jump when he was younger to win headers, so he was weaker at heading as he got older. Which, yeah, I mean, I guess if you're playing against 12-year-olds and you're already 6'4" or something like that, just throw it in there. But it's just watching, like, I'm going to have to send you a highlight pack of this guy, because this is a little inside basketball here, but they play like a pick and roll. You familiar with a pick and roll in basketball?
No.
One guy sets a screen and you run behind him so that your defender runs into that guy. Okay. And then the defenders need to decide whether he's going to go around you or whether you switch.
Okay.
So the easiest thing to do is to just switch. So Wemby's playing, he's being guarded by the other team's tallest guy. The guy with the ball, the shortest guy, shortest guy in basketball is still 6'3" or something like that. But he's also being guarded by a short guy. And his play is, and he's told the public this, that if they switch and he's now being guarded by a guy that he is a foot taller than, he just goes to the basket and the other guy just throws the ball anywhere in the vicinity of the basket and he just jumps up, grabs it, and puts it in the net. And it works every fucking time.
Yeah.
He's so big, like he's so dominant that, yeah, I'm trying to think of maybe running this through and trying to find what is like the best attribute to have. If you're creating an athlete to excel in all sports, which bar would you turn up to 100 in your player creation mode? Because I don't think it's height.
No, I don't think it is. Depends what you're doing. Like if you're playing long balls, you're not lashing his pace up to 100. There's no point. He's not running anywhere. If you're, I think it's probably flexibility, is it?
Flexibility. Wow.
Yeah. And what I mean by that is that, if you're a skier, downhill skier, you have to be flexible. You have to be able to go left and right through the gates. If you're a footballer, you have to be flexible that you can run, change direction. It's probably just change of direction. Top that up to 100, please. So I think that's it. If you're good at changing direction in any sport, you're good. Unless it's snooker. Don't change direction while you're trying to play snooker, because you'll hit it in the wrong way. But it's probably change of direction, yeah. Dexterity, would that be the word?
Yeah, I'd say that, yeah. Dexterity, reflexes, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably something along them lines. I think the rest will kind of find itself.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to go now, Gav. You've got a what the fuck story that rolls into our first ever sports conspiracy theory, but in a shocking development, this segment, the Sports Conspiracy Veranda, is sponsored by Tregarva Parts and Repair, the number one vintage snowmobile parts and repair service in the southern Saskatchewan region. So if you are looking for a new throttle cable for a 1977 snow twister, or you possibly are looking to get some new pipes built for a 1981 Ski-Doo RV touring, get a hold of Tregarva Parts and Repair. Talk to Richard and Lyndon, and they will get you sorted out. Gav, over to you.
Call 1-800-SNOW, and it'll get you straight through. We'll give you an update on our sponsor's quest at the end. Just remind us or something like that, because it's a discount code, says Dylan. Yeah, ring up and tell them you know us, and they will give you 10% off all.
Use discount code IKSHAC. I know sports. He's a clown. To get 1% off your first order.
Yeah. Do you know what? We'll sign the box. No, IKSHAC1, right? At checkout, and they will personally sign the box that they're sending the throttle cable in. Owen's there, so we get them to write something like to Owen, lots of love, Jim. Just that personal touch, for when it gets you. So check out whatever the name of the company he said.
Tregarva Parts and Repair.
Tregarva. Well, I'm gonna forget that as much as I can forget damage control. But we'll update you on the stuff. But it's sponsored by Tregarva snowmobile bits. And straight away I'm like, what is Bruce Willis up to? Because I'm thinking, can we remake some sort of video from Die Hard 2 where he's on the snowmobile and his bullets have blanks in it, and he's like, I'm sure I got that guy, and then he realises what's going on after he flies over this big mound across a road and destroys the fucking thing. So he's going to have to ring Tregarva because he's going to need a hell of a lot of parts. But I think he might be suffering from some sort of disease where he doesn't even know who he is.
He's in a real bad state there, old Bruce.
Yeah. But anyway, listen, if he's feeling better one of the days, we might get him out and, have a little go in the snow and around the snowmobiles, and you know what I mean? Sure. We'll see how we get on. But anyway, Tregarva.
Tregarva.
Chigarva. This
There
is
you
sponsored by
go.
Chigarva. Anyway, this is this is the story of the week, and this is brought to you by my friend Neely, who said, "I have a fella for you," and there's a bit of a conspiracy theory at the end. This this is lengthy, but I'm gonna go for it. I think it deserves it, and there's a lot of words in it in foreign. So me trying to read this will be entertaining as much as informative. Okay, so brace yourself. So if I said the name Matthias Sindelar to you, would you know who that is?
No, but it sounds very Dutch.
It is not Dutch. Okay,
South African?
it's not Dutch. And every time I think of Dutch now, I think of our mutual friend Shawnee, who said, "I know a Dutch fella. I work with him, and when he gets risky, he has a he has a rich tea biscuit in it on a Saturday night in his tea. So he has no time for the Dutch. But anyway, Matthias Sindelar, okay, was an Austrian professional footballer. Okay. Regarded as one of the greatest Austrian players of all time, Sindelar notably played for Austria Vienna and the national side. He played as a centre forward for the celebrated Austrian national side of the early 1930s, which became known as Wunder Team, which he captained at the 1934 World Cup. Known as the Mozart of football, or Der Paperan, the Paperman, for his slight build, he was renowned as one of the finest pre-war footballers, known for his fantastic dribbling ability and creativity. He was voted the best Austrian footballer of the 20th century in 1999 poll by the International Federation of Football History and Statistics, and was named Austria's Sportsman of the Century a year before in 1998. With the Wunder team, With the Wunder team, Sindelar was one of the key elements of the development formation and style to play as it evolved into a 2-3-5. According to specialists like Paul Dietzke, this formation provided such fluidity to the Australian system, leading to its earning of the nickname the Viennese Whirlpool. Although the Wunder team regularly lacked efficiency, Sindelar's individual technical skill was often compensated for these issues. Okay, little bit on his background. He was of Czech descent. Okay, despite occasional claims that Sindelar was of Jewish origin, the family was actually Catholic. These claims most likely arise from his main club, Austria Vienna's connection to Vienna's Jewish population. They moved to Vienna in 1905 and settled predominantly working class district of Favrten and had a large Czech-speaking community. Young Matej, whose name would be Germanized as Matthias, began playing football in the streets, and other children of the neighborhood, many of whom were immigrants from Bohemia and Moravia. Notably, he grew up alongside his future Australian teammate Joseph Bekan. Okay, he goes on to play for Hertha Berlin. He does all that Austria Vienna. Just to let you know, his totals for playing for Austria Vienna: 298 games, 158 goals. A total throughout all these seasons: 385 games, 228 goals, and he plays for he obviously plays for the Austrians, and he gets 27 goals in 52 games. All right, now he's doing all that. He goes to the World Cup, all that sort of stuff, right? But in 1938, on April the 3rd, the Austrian team played Germany in the Prater Stadium in Vienna. The match was significant, as just a few weeks earlier, Nazi Germany had annexed Austria, known as Anschluss, and had absorbed the national team into that of Nazi Germany, ignoring their qualification for the summer's World Cup. Thus, this would be Austria's last international match until after the Second World War. This was and is seen by as many as a great tragedy for Austrian football, as they feel Austria were one of the favourites to lift that year's World Cup trophy. The match, dubbed the Anschlussspiel, I'm doing really well here, in German, was planned.
You're actually nailing that.
Yeah, was planned as a celebration by the Nazi regime of the Anschluss and Austria's coming home to the Reich. At Sindelar's behest, the Austria team played in red and white stripes, which mimicked the Austrian flag's colours instead of their traditional white and black stripes. Austria squandered many easy goal-scoring opportunities during the match in a way that looked deliberate. However, in the last 20 minutes, Sindelar and teammate Karl Sesta both scored. The game finished 2-0. Sindelar has claimed to have celebrated extravagantly in front of senior Nazi dignitaries. Okay, he was basically so he refused to leave his home country. Sindelar refused to play for the new German national team, citing old age. By this point, he was 35 years old, and injury as the cause. On the 23rd of January, 1939, both Sindelar and his girlfriend Camilla Castagnola were found dead at their apartment shared in Vienna. The official verdict cited carbon monoxide poisoning as the case. Different theories speculated about his death was an accident, suicide, or murder. So that's where the conspiracy comes in. And my mate Neely was like, yeah, the Germans killed him. Hitler had him killed. Austrian writer Friedrich Thorberg later dedicated a poem of den Tod eines Fußballers on the death of a footballer to Sindelar. The poem suggested that he had committed suicide as a result of the German Anschluss of Austria in 1938. On the other hand, it has been thought and reported that his death was accidental, caused by a defective chimney. There's two extremes. A neighbour had reported a defective chimney in the block a few days before Sindelar's death. However, in a 2000s documentary screened by the BBC, Egon Ulbrich, a lifelong friend of Sindelar, stated that a local official was bribed to record his death as an accident, which ensured that he would receive a state funeral. According to the Nazi rules, a person who was being murdered or has committed suicide cannot be given a grave of honour. So he had to do something to ensure that the criminal element involved in his death was removed, he stated. It was also being suggested that Sindelar was killed for his opposition to the Anschluss. The Gestapo notably had a file on him and kept his cafe under surveillance. So there you go. There is the man known as Matthias Sindelar.
That's, we might be the first ever sports show to bring up the Anschluss of Austria. So we've got that going for us. So that 168 sponsors will be going up to
subscribers. Yeah.
In
especially now that
no time.
Tregarve are on board.
Tregarve Parts and Repair. Yeah. It's an offshoot of Tregarve Vintage Racing.
Yeah.
I find that story very interesting, especially at the end there, where the guy that covers up a potential Nazi murder is actually the good guy, because it seems like Sindelar actually deserved to be, honored after he died. To have that state funeral seems like that was an honor that was kind of befitting a player of his stature, because you rattled those numbers off there. He was 2 goals in 3 games over the course of his career.
Yep.
One in every 2 for the national team. That's quite good. Just as a quick trivia, do you know who won the 1938 World Cup and where it was hosted?
Oh. 30 was Uruguay. Was 34 Chile? No,
they wouldn't have done South America twice.
1930. Oh, I used to know all this. This is my age kicking in. 1930 was Uruguay.
Yeah,
First
and they
World
won.
Cup. 1934, I think, was Chile. Did you say 34?
1934 was Italy, and Italy won.
Oh, was it? Mm-hmm. Did he have one in 38 while the war was going on?
They did have one in 1938.
Okay.
It was held in France and was won by Italy. So Italy repeated as champions.
Oh, very good. I used to know all these because I had the best ever World Cup sticker book for the 1990 World Cup, and I had so much stuff in it. It's the best book that's ever come out with stickers in it for football. And he used to tell you all about it, and then you got to 58, and it was Pelé, and that was in Sweden, and all this stuff went on, and then 1978, and you had Mario Kempes, and just ticker tape everywhere in Argentina. You had 1970, of course, with Brazil, and one of the best goals that never was. When Pele dummies the keeper, runs around him and tries to put it in, and it goes wide. I have a VHS tape upstairs of the official 1982 in Spain, and that just looked like a fucking one of the best parties ever. Like the footage of Brazil against Scotland in a group game is fucking bananas. Like there's just these Brazilians dancing around having the time of their life, like it's the Copacabana down one end of the pitch, right? And at the other end, it's just a load of lads in fucking kilts, right? Absolutely off their faces at the other end. It's fucking brilliant.
Those are very different extremes of party cultures. Like those are two people that love a party, but very different.
It's brilliant. And then like if you look at so Mexico hold it in 70 and then they hold it again in 86. But in 86 at the Azteca Stadium, when the sun at the height of the day, in the middle of the day, the actual outline of the stadium, of the roof of the stadium, would shine down on top of the pitch, and it was amazing to look at. And of course, 86 is Maradona, and he's doing all sorts of fucking messing, like he's a joke.
Speaking of Diego Maradona, this just tells you how out of the zeitgeist soccer is where I'm from. This guy that I work with on the farm, is a hired man for the family, just sends me a message one day, and he's like, holy shit, have you ever heard of this guy? You got to check this out. And it's just a Diego Maradona highlight pack. And it's like, yeah, that's maybe the best player that's ever played.
Yeah.
Ever. Yeah. Like, you're just discovering Diego Maradona now.
It's a joke, isn't it? Oh, but you know what? You'd be nearly jealous of him.
I know.
He's experiencing this for the first time. Like you look at...
he doesn't really give two shits about it.
Yeah, but you look at Maradona in 80... You look at Maradona in 86 and then 1990... Like he go. The best thing about Maradona was when he plays in 1990 in Italy. He's the fucking darling of Naples, right? He's the darling of Naples. He's taken Napoli from nobodies to fucking title winners. I think they win the title in 80, maybe not 89. I think AC Milan win it in 89. But I think he wins. I think he might have won the title with Napoli as he goes into this World Cup, and he's playing in Naples, and he plays a semi-final against Italy in Naples and comes out and he does not give two fucks. You know what I mean? He's like, I am Argentina, and he has nearly Naples supporting him. He's that big. It's a fucking joke, like. And it's brilliant. But like Maradona in that World Cup, it was all about him being in Italy. You know what I mean? Him being in Italy and doing it. And the 1990 World Cup is just, I remember them playing against, I think they played Brazil earlier, and I think it's Caniggia scores from a Maradona through ball, and he just goes around the keeper and he lifts it into the goal. It's just the 1990 World Cup. Like there was so many shy games in it, but there was amazing stuff. Like Cameroon, like took England to extra time in the quarter final in the 1990 World Cup. Cameroon, you know what I mean? Roger Milla, he was 40 years of age, this fucker, playing up front for Cameroon, and he scored, and he ran over and he danced with the corner flag. Amazing gear.
I get the biggest worry that this summer's World Cup is not going to provide that same sort of historical.
No, there's too many teams in it.
To it at all. Well, there's only 128 teams. Okay,
it's too many teams in it.
They're gonna start playing the first knockout games, I think, this afternoon, and they'll finish sometime around Christmas or something like that. I know we have a random question, but just one final thing, because it's a little bit of good news for you, Gav. The NFL draft was last weekend. Fernando Mendoza, who I told you about when we discussed Indiana winning the national championship, he's their star quarterback. He went first overall. No surprise there. But I'm just looking at a list of winners and losers from the draft, and one of the winners are, in fact, the New York Football Giants.
Oh, fantastic.
So things are looking up for the Giants.
They are now until the season kicks off, and then the Giants decide to be the worst fucking NFL franchise on the planet because they're fucking terrible.
They've got John Harbaugh in as head coach, so that is a very quality head coach. He might not be the better of the two brothers, but, you've got one of the Harbaughs, so that's good. You've got a good coach there, and with the 5th pick overall, drafted a good star linebacker, so should be, the anchor of the defense. and then a very smart choice with the 10th pick. That's how shit the Giants are. They had the 5th and the 10th pick in the first round. They drafted offensive tackle Francis Moigoa, and it is never a bad idea to pick an offensive tackle high up in the draft because those are the guys that keep your quarterback from getting absolutely stolen. But you have a random question for us. Is it the same one that I see in the chat?
It's probably the same one that Dylan's written in because he asked us the other day, yeah. But Ashley asked this one first. She said, if you could rediscover any football player from history, excluding Maradona, like this guy, your friend, who would it be and why? I think I'd go for Ronaldinho. I know my answer straight away.
It depends if I'm like from a Liverpool. It's Luis Suarez at Liverpool for me.
Is it? Okay.
That 13-14 Luis Suarez Liverpool was outrageous.
Well, Johnny did reckon yours will be Marco Bizzo, because it's still one of the greatest interviews of all time.
A legend.
It's John Barnes for me. It'll always be John Barnes. I was having a discussion down the golf club with a lad that works he's a greenkeeper, and he's about 22 years of age, and he was banging on about Gareth Bale, and I was like, fuck off. Gareth Bale is excellent, I said, but go and watch John Barnes. And he went off and he came back and went, yeah, he was all right, wasn't he? I was like, oh, fuck you, I'm not talking to you anymore.
Fighting words?
Yeah, like about John Barnes, yeah. John and
I
David.
will say I have memories of watching that Spurs against Inter Milan game, and Gareth Bale became like this world sensation and absolutely ended Maicon's career in 190 minutes of football. It was truly insane. And I have a soft spot for Gareth Bale simply because I love a guy that's like, yeah, I know I'm really good at football, but I don't care for it that much. I'd much rather golf. I just think that's great that he's like, yeah, I know I'm insanely talented at this and I'm paid to do this, but I'd rather just do something else.
Bale did go nuclear, but imagine you could just turn on the telly tomorrow and watch John Barnes again. Fucking hell. For the first time, by the way. Diego Pavia is surely the biggest loser. Heisman finalist, not drafted for the first time in 12 years.
Obviously failed the dickhead test because all of these teams, all these college players, they go to the combine. I know some people like it. It's literally just guys doing like wind sprints and shuttle runs and jumping to see how high you can jump and shit like that, bench press reps. And they all go through this and they all get measured and ranked and everything like that. But all these NFL teams now have in-depth background checks on these players. And if you're a fucking asshole, you need to be insanely talented. Talented. But it's not a death knell because Tom Brady basically didn't get drafted. Like, he went in the 7th round. You may as well not get drafted if you're going in the 7th round. So there's a way back for him. So hopefully he does good because that's a good name. Diego Pavia? Yeah. That's a good name.
He sounds like somebody that played for Valencia in the late 90s. To be fair.
Yeah, when Joaquin was on that team.
Joaquin was famous firstly at Betis. But the Valencia team in the late 90s, early 2000s, what was the little Argentinian fella that played for them? Pablo Aymar. And they had Canizares in goal, and they had a couple of unbelievable midfielders as well. They had Claudio Lopez, didn't they? Left side as well. They'd serious. Actually, there's one for you if you want. Go and watch Valencia from the late 90s. They were good. Right, Dylan asks, and we'll do this and then we'll do our update on our sponsors. But Tregarva, they're the ones this week. Are they just a sponsor for the show, or are they the sponsor for the segment, or?
Oh, I have no idea. I didn't even ask them or tell them about it. I just did this on my own will. It's my brother's company. So.
I think we could link Tregarva snowmobile parts for the what the fuck moment. I think there's a good link there. You know, because
it's a pretty what the fuck sponsor. So
yeah, and it's a bit like if there's a bit of conspiracy going on in there. You know, there's always conspiracy when you're buying parts, isn't there? I wonder how much he's making off that. I'd say he's making a fortune, and they're like, well, he has to make money, mate. But there's the conspiracy link. So Tregarva, sponsors of your what the fuck moment. I'm going to make a video on that now. I'm going to make a video as an intro, so we can just press it, and I'll be there going Tregarva, and I'll just have I think I'll take the front brake handle off me child's bike and just hold it in my hand, just loose in my hand, just like there, and I just go Tregarva, and I just pull the brake because I don't have a snowmobile.
If you need one of those for a vintage snowmobile, Tregarva Parts and Repair can get you sorted easy.
Well, what I'll do is I might ask you for a bit of information on it. On bits that you can buy for snowmobiles, and then I'll make my video. Yeah? Okay, sounds thanks. Good. Anyway, right. Dylan did ask, Luke Littler, the darts player, Luke Littler?
Yep.
Yeah. Versus Mo Farah, a 10-kilometer race, but after each kilometer, you need to hit a 180. Who wins, and by what distance, time, etc.?
Okay, I guess I didn't read the question very thoroughly when it was in the chat because I thought we were talking a marathon distance. 10K changes it.
It would change it for me as well. You see, he asked the other day, I thought he asked the other day, a marathon. I think I'm going to change that to 26.2 miles a marathon, okay?
If it's a marathon, I think Mo Farah wins by an infinite margin because I think Luke Littler dies by about the 7th mile. I honestly do. As hard as it is to picture legendary distance runner Mo Farah just stepping up to the line and putting a nice tight cluster in the 20, I think I can hit. If you see, there has to be tries,
no,
I'm
but
hitting a couple 180s.
I think if you tell Mo Farah, listen, in 3 months' time, Luke Littler's going to challenge you to this, and you have to hit a 180 after every kilometre, right? And you have to hit, so you're going to have to hit 40 180s, right? Because there's 40 kilometres I think it's 40 kilometres in a marathon, right? If my calculations are right. So I think if you tell Mo Farah, he gets 3 months to practice darts, right? So let's go in with the pretense that Luke Littler knocks on Mo Farah's door one morning. Mo opens it. Jesus, Luke, how are you? Mo, listen, get your running gear on, bring your darts. And he's like, why? 40-kilometre race, but after every kilometre, we have to throw a 180, right? So we have to put it in that Mo Farah knows fuck all about this, right? Because let's be honest about it, Luke Littler doesn't know anything about running, right? You know what I mean? So I think that's even enough. Who wins it? If you're catching Mo Farah by surprise, it's Tuesday morning, you knock on his door and you go, right, 15 minutes race, 40 kilometres, but after every kilometre there's a dartboard and you have to throw a 180. I think Luke Littler wins it.
Luke Littler is a barrel size of a young man.
Luke Littler wins it walking.
I'm concerned about Luke Littler surviving the walking, though. Because he's going to get no downtime in between. He's gonna step up and it's going to take him, 3 tries at most to hit the 180? And then he's back at it. He's not even going to catch his breath in between those miles.
But listen, he can catch his breath if he wants. He could hit a 180 and sit down for 10 minutes.
No.
I'm telling you now, right? I'm telling you now.
Mo Farah is an athlete.
He is an athlete.
Like he's completely uncoordinated. So here's the question.
So hold on, you're going with Mo Farah.
Yeah, because I think Luke Littler dies.
Well,
I think he has a fucking coronary or some sort of myocardial infarction or something like that, and the doctors have to call him.
I think if Luke Littler dies, I think Mo Farah still ends up asking for the draw because he just can't hit the dance.
Luke Littler dies of a cardiac arrest, and Mo Farah dies of old age after the 3rd mile, having thrown.
I think if you say, look, I'll tell you what. Look, let's put it this way, right? Let's say it takes you, I don't know, 6 minutes to walk a kilometre, right? Let's just say it's 6 minutes. I'd say probably, let's say 8 minutes to walk a kilometre, which I think is very generous, right? Now, Luke Littler could walk that pace at 15 minutes a kilometre, which is fucking snail's pace, right?
Okay, so I've just asked AI, how fast will a fat guy walk 1 mile? And AI says an out of shape or heavier individual can typically expect to walk 1 mile in 20 to 25 minutes at a moderate sustainable pace.
Well, that's
So
1 mile.
give him
This is a
40
kilometre.
minutes.
This is a kilometre. It's different. Ask AI how long it would take a 15 stone, 16 stone man to walk a kilometre.
16 stone man.
To walk
Brackets,
1 kilometre.
Fat to walk 1 km.
Yeah.
A 16 stone, approximately 100 kilo man, I think you're being nice to Luke Littler there, walking at a steady or moderate pace will typically take 12 to 15 minutes to walk 1 kilometer.
15
but
minutes.
But he's not doing that.
I think he is.
Half
Right?
hour.
Right. No, I'll tell you what. Let's say 20 minutes, right? Okay. So he takes 20 minutes to walk that kilometre. Mo Farah's going to run that in about 2 minutes, right? He's going to run it in 2 minutes, okay? So that means that Luke Littler strolls along, just fucking waddles along. Mo Farah gets there. So Mo Farah immediately has an 18-minute head start on Luke Littler, right? Yeah. Are you saying that Mo Farah can get a 180 after we've knocked on his door on a Tuesday morning, caught him by surprise, that he can get a 180 within that 18 minutes?
He probably won't get the first one, but I think by the 5th or 6th mile, he'll start to get his stroke down. Now, I'm taking this under the assumption that there is a fucking auto feeder of darts there. He's not having to walk to the board and pull his darts out. He's
no. To be just people. There's a team. There's a team there just
as soon as he throws 3, they disappear. Or he throws 1 and it misses, he starts over again. And there's just an automatic thing of darts. He's going to stand there and throw darts. He's not drinking. You know, most of us when we're throwing darts have had a few cocktails. And even though you think it's a bit of a nerve steadier, it's not. Mo Farah is still an athlete. He is going to get that down. Luke Littler's pace might start at a 20-minute kilometer, and that is going to balloon to the end.
Right. Okay.
He might need to have a nap.
What I'm saying is, if you said to Luke Littler, right, there's no time limit on this, right? I genuinely believe, this is what I believe, right? And I don't, if people disagree with me, I genuinely believe I think you could say to Mo Farah, right? I'll tell you how confident would Luke Littler to do this. If you stood Mo Farah in front of a dartboard and said, I need you to hit 40 180s, right? 40 of them. And Luke Littler's going to start walking over here. And he's to walk 40 kilometres. I genuinely think Luke Littler could do that 40 kilometres over 5 days and still win it. 8 kilometres a day. 8 kilometres. If he walks at an hour's pace, he's doing 8 hours of walking a day. You know, he's doing 8 kilometres in a day. I still think Luke Littler wins it. What? Like, well, maybe.
I think he dies.
You know, I that's so. Like, tell us in the chat if you just put the name Mo or the name Luke down. And here's my scenario. Right, I know we've twisted this. What I'm saying is that if you forget the running for a minute, Mo Farah in a room, a conveyor belt of darts, hit 40 180s. Right. He can do it as long as he wants all day. He can have a sleep. He can fucking stay awake. He can do what he wants. I think if you started them on a Monday morning, I think Luke Littler could finish his 40 kilometres the following Monday. And your man wouldn't have 40 180s.
Okay. Well, apparently the probability is much higher than I was giving you credit for. So I once again used the reliance on AI. For an average person who doesn't play darts, it would take it would likely take hundreds of thousands to millions of throws to hit a 180.
Yes. Yeah.
So the formula is triple 20 is equal to the area of the triple 20 over the area of total spread, which is equal to 280 millimeters squared over 31,400. So it's a less than 1% chance of hitting that, and 3 ones in a row. Yeah, so average visits is so a 1 in 1.4 million. So yeah, 4.2 million throws. It figures.
Yeah. Shane
So
says,
Mo is really putting all of his hope in the infinite monkey theory, and Luke Littler just absolutely keeling over after
yeah.
the first 300
Like
yards.
Shane says, Mo all day long, Luke Littler would be dead by 10k. But he wouldn't. He wouldn't, because Luke Littler could literally go out and go, Luke, listen, imagine you're just walking to the toilet, right? You get up in the sitting room and you go and you just walk to the toilet. The pace you walk at is, well, it depends on what you need to go to the toilet. But it's just that walk. Now,
The
what we're going
toilet's
to
not a kilometer away, though.
Yeah, no, I know it's not. But the pace he walks at is really slow, right? Okay? Now, we're going to get you to do that and take as long as you want to do 42.2 kilometers, which I've been told in the chat is the marathon distance. Luke Littler could genuinely say, listen, lads, I'm going to do a kilometer a day for 40 days. Okay? And when he comes back, Mo Farah is still standing there trying to get his 4180s.
Well, if it's going to take, according to this math, 4.2 million throws, let's see here. How long would it take to throw 4.2 million darts if you don't have to collect them from the board and they magically reappeared in your hand?
AI is fuming at you.
I fucking love AI. At a steady nonstop pace of one throw every 2 seconds, it would take approximately 97 days, 5 hours, and 20 minutes to throw
That's without sleep.
4.2 million darts. So now you need to multiply that
So
by
4.2 million darts will be to get his 4180s, is that right?
No, 4.2 million darts is to get 180.
Oh, there you go. Luke
But
Littler.
again,
Luke Littler could walk 100 yards a day and finish this before.
After how many throws do you think that Mo Farah becomes a pretty good darts player?
Oh,
like,
yeah,
he's not going to stay. His skill level isn't going to stay.
Oh,
zero.
no, his skill level is going to rise, but at the same time, like, his skill level is going to rise. But like, let's be honest about it. If you throw a 180, right, you're going, fuck, I done a 180. The chances are the next time you throw
I'd phone you if I'm out playing darts and I hit a 180.
Yeah,
you're getting a phone call in the middle of the night.
But if you then the odds are the next 3 darts you throw, you get a total of 7. Do you know what I mean? So I think Littler by an absolute distance. So there you go.
So at a fast pace, you're looking at 48 and a half days. I think if you put exponential growth in there, I think Luke Littler would have to finish his 42.2 kilometers in under a month.
Well, 48 days would mean that. How many days?
But he's getting exponentially better at throwing darts because he's throwing hundreds of thousands of darts.
So Luke Littler will have to walk 1.1 kilometer per day for a month, right?
I would reckon that Luke Littler doesn't walk 1.1 kilometers most days.
Shoddy Lawson says Mo Farah couldn't lift a dart. But anyway, that's what I think Luke Littler. So anyway, do you know what to do for your homework for next week? Bring that question into work or whatever, or don't know, down to when you're standing queuing in the bank, to ask people around you. Just go, listen, Luke Littler, Mo Farah. Mo Farah's at a dartboard. He has to throw 4180s, and Luke Littler has to walk 42 kilometers, but can do it for as long as he wants. Who wins? I think most people say
the flip side of this is trying to find the sports person that is not Luke Littler, that you'd get an even competition. Like Mo Farah has to clear all the balls off of a billiards table in one go, and Ronnie O'Sullivan is walking the marathon.
But that's even harder.
Well, like bowling a strike then. Like it's not a perfect game. Just one strike.
Yeah.
You got to throw one bowling ball and get all 10 pins down in one throw. Now,
40
if Mo
strikes.
Farah can't lift a dart, he definitely can't lift a...
No, he's going to need that yoke. You know the thing the kids have where they put the ball on the top and it rolls down it and heads down the aisle. And he'd have to have the sides up, you know. So there you go. Anyway, that's it. With regards to our sponsors, we sent a very... Do you want me to read out the email that I sent to...
If you want to, sure.
Okay, let me find the email. We sent this to I think I'm right in saying it's Drew was the person we sent to, and it's a Phantom
Lights Distillery.
Okay, Phantom Lights Distillery. So this was their pitch to Drew at Phantom Lights Distillery to send Matt some vodka, and I just drink water, pretend it was vodka because it's in Canada. It's going to cost him a fortune. So here comes the email that we sent to Drew. Hi Drew, just thought I would drop you a line about a possible sponsorship opportunity that we could get going between us. First of all, big respect to you for chasing this dream with Phantom. It's a long way from firefighting and laying driveways. Hey, did you like the hay?
It's great. It's very Canadian.
Yeah, the Canadians love that. Our podcast is small now, but we see it as a juggernaut fueled on hard work and desire. 163 subscribers already without a single social media post. We are incredibly proud of this. What you're doing is impressive, man. A high bar of truth be told, but the 2020 Harvest Party with the Lobster was a touch of class that showed your levels in any game. I've heard it likened to a curling effort from Luis Suarez for Liverpool away at Stoke circa 2011, where it was particularly cold and wet. We would love to link up and promote your alcoholic beverage on our channel and do a deal that suits both of us. Side note, big happy birthday to Brian, the big 5-0. Pass on my regards. I hope he's still playing 2v2 football on the lawn. Man, could he move. Matt Gell was telling me that the horse pull rodeo didn't go too well. I've lost all faith in the association following the cheating accusations out Westport Way. Checking hooves for man-made grips is a staple of pre-entry guidelines. Would have sorted this fiasco, but as always, money talks and the promise of land. Brian and John done their best, but they were pissing into the wind. The proof is there to all to see. Sorry, I have to find the rest of this email. I can't find the rest of it. Hold on. It won't scroll off me. Hold on. I'll find the rest of it. I'm trying to do about 11 screens here. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, about the horse pole road. Anyway. Sorry for my rambling. This is where it gets a little bit. Well, if you don't think it's strange now, it gets strange. Anyway. Sorry for rambling on. 35 years with a cleft palate, successful reconfiguration surgery in 2016, by the way, has led to me just wanting to talk, and sometimes this spills into my digital-based interactions. My wife says that she's happy that the side effect that was the ear infections may have been solved. Strained teabag into the cavity, by the way. It's brilliant. But less enthusiastic about the fixing of the feeding issues and the speech being like new. I could lose a few pounds, and my oral sponsor encouraged me to talk in person, digitally, and to myself to make up for lost time. Let's set up a call if you would like to be part of our juggernaut. It may not be the Klondike Gold, but we believe in time it will be our mega nugget of success. Hope to hear from you soon, and go Rough Riders. Yours in sport, Gavin L.A. Doyle. So there you go.
Who gets that email from a total random in the middle of the night and doesn't respond immediately?
Yeah. Who doesn't pique, like, if that doesn't pique one's interest, what are we meant to do here? This is the game's gone. The game is gone.
It's there's two outcomes that when you sent me the draft of that and you're like, this is what I'm thinking of sending off, and I was like, okay, there's two outcomes to this. I get an immediate phone call from this guy and he's like, I'm on board. Or I get a knock at the door shortly after I should get that phone call, and it's the RCMP being like, are you behind this weird fucking email that this respected businessman just got?
Ashley does point out that it's factually incorrect, that email, because we're now at 168 subscribers. And Shawnee says, Gav, the next sponsor has to be corn. I can't believe they put John Barnes in a van on the brick road. Genuinely mind-boggling the day me and Shawnee came out of Anfield and we're walking by and there was a van selling it was corn. You know, corn, the brand corn. It's like vegetarian
No.
sausages.
Okay.
It's for vegetarians. And genuinely, we were walking away or chatting away, and I don't know which one of us said it. We just went, "Is that John Barnes selling corn sausages?" And it was. It was in the back of a van. And Johnny says, honestly, imagine Magic Johnson outside the Staples Centre making sandwiches. That's exactly what it was like.
I'm so happy I hung this up because that's one of your heroes as a kid, right? And then you get to meet him, and it's a little underwhelming. This is Maurice Richard, one of the greatest ever players for the Montreal Canadiens, and I got this autographed picture of him. The old time hockey players, much like old football players, got paid fuck all. So these old hockey players would go around in the summer and they'd play softball against the fire department or the police department, and they'd just tour around the country and sell merchandise and stuff like that. And it was like, as a little kid, it was like, holy shit, these are all the guys that I grew up like learning about and being like, wow, these are the best players ever. And then it's like, you think about it afterwards and you're like, this guy was in a parking lot selling signed pictures for like $15 in Regina, Saskatchewan when he's 75 years old. We really didn't treat our athletes very well. And now we treat them way too well. So there's got to be somewhere in the middle we can find. I'm trying
to remember what email address I sent my email to Sask Milk. Haven't heard back from them either.
It's apparently the sponsors in my neck of the woods don't want anything to do with us, which is why I didn't even ask my brother about using his company as a sponsor. I just fucking decided to do it. So he'll find out. He's the only one in my family that actually watches these. Oh no, my mom watches too, but he watches these shows. So hopefully he's excited by it. And if any Irish people need snowmobile parts or just a whole snowmobile, get a hold of him. He can help you out.
I'm trying to see now where I sent them. No, Drew. I definitely sent one to Drew. I just can't remember which email address I used for sending the one to Sask Milk. But I definitely sent it. So there you go. But look, we're trying our best. And I think I don't know how successful it's going to be that we just keep absolutely just trying to impose ourselves on these people. But I still feel it might be the best way. It's the most fun.
It's definitely the most fun. I like to think of it as us disrupting the advertising industry, you know? Like in this day and age, you're constantly trying to be disruptors and change how the game is done. This is very much changing how the advertising game is done. Just not serious at all, without your consent. That sounds terrible now that I've said it out loud. Without this company even knowing, we're just going to do the advertising for you, and then eventually you can give us some money or alcohol.
Well, we're doing it for your brothers, Tregarva, and I'm gonna make up an intro video for him. So when it comes to the what the fuck moment, we're gonna play that intro. But Sask Milk doesn't seem to have worked. No. What was the first one?
Damage control.
Damage control. They didn't work. We looked at headbands, sweatbands, but it turns out they were Russians based in Croatia, and they didn't want anything to do with startup people. So that's done. Sask Milk hasn't come back. Tregarva has just been put on board whether they like it or not. And poor Drew doesn't know what to be doing. He's probably in a panic room in his house with his wife and kids going, nobody leaves here until we work out who fucking wrote this email.
There's an insane Irishman that somehow knows honestly, all about me.
But genuinely, from the email address, he could have just clicked on the name and he would have found us. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe that's why we've gone from 165 to 168. You know, he doesn't want to sponsor us up front, but
we have said we've told them all very directly. Join the juggernaut. You know, we have 168 subscribers and we haven't done a single social media post. Do you know what I mean? And we're growing every week. You know, we're without them. And
I know.
Anyway,
we haven't even bothered, I don't think, to get the handle on any of the social media sites. So when this inevitably becomes the international sports show behemoth that it is guaranteed to be, there's going to be somebody out there sitting on @IKnowSports, he's a clown on Twitter, and it's not going to be us.
But we're never going on to it.
No, but they're going to be like, hey, come do serious sports talk. No.
Couple of good names. Shawnee says Lionel Richie, which is fantastic. Based under the bridge in Finglas, and Schindler's Lifts, which is fucking incredible.
It is actually because like both of my brothers and my nephew all work in the lift industry, and Schindler is a brand
Yeah.
of elevator.
Yeah.
And over here, not an issue.
Yeah.
You know, Schindler elevators, that's fine. Schindler's lifts, totally different. Totally.
Yeah, it's out of this world. How good that
We
is.
could. Oh, here's an idea, Gav. Do you know any like local Dublin-based like window/chimney cleaners that we could maybe get on board?
Yes.
Because those guys are fucking loaded. I've heard.
Yes.
Loaded.
All they do is go around buying like mopeds and Vespas. That's what they do now.
I know.
Anyway,
yeah, that's enough. There's
Verlander says
to
there's a Chinese takeaway and break called Soonfa, which I think is absolutely brilliant. Right, are we going?
Yeah, I think we should go. I'm going to go watch hockey and basketball because that's what you do when it's playoff time, baby. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. I hope you all have a wonderful week in sports. Thanks again, Gav, for being here. Share the word, everybody, because that 168 is going to have a few zeros behind it soon, and you want to be able to say that you were here before it was cool.
And if you go into the shed and you come across a snowmobile, could happen, get on to Tregarva. They have all the bits, all right? The bits you need. And don't be worrying about how much they're making in it. You know what I mean? Don't get all conspiracy on us. Just buy the parts and be fucking done with it. But, if, like we said at checkout, if you put in IKSHAC1, you get a personalised message back. So, if Shawnee buys a speedometer for speedometer screen for the 1976 one of them things.
Snowjet,
Snowjet. It'll be personalised, so we'll say to Shawnee, lots of love, Mick, or whoever boxes up the stuff. But we won't be as annoying as those fragrance companies that sell the fragrances, and they just constantly email you every day about. We won't do that. We just sell you the stuff. We don't give a fuck then after that. And if you want to come back, you do. If you don't,
it's one and done. It's one and done.
Yeah. All right.
That's it. All right. We'll see whether or not we might have a show next week. Things are getting busy around the farm. It's quickly becoming springtime where I'm from, so we might not be back at our regular time next week on Thursday. We'll just have to kind of play it by ear and see how it goes. We'll try to find a time, though, before it gets too busy for me, for Gav and I to get drunk and do an alternate commentary for the 1996 Hell in a Cell match between The Undertaker and Mankind, because that honestly sounds like the funnest thing we could possibly do. So enjoy your sport, everybody. Hopefully Atletico Madrid do us all a favor and knock Arsenal out next week. But until then, bye-bye. I know sports. He's a clown. Yeah, it's gonna...